And lived in Cleveland during the, my God, we were still having parties in the backyard even though he was doing the nonsense he was doing. It was so much fun to watch. I was in the service then, traveling. Go ahead.
Yeah. How are these guys funded?
They are funded through HUD tax dollars and contributions from private organizations and from the MPOs.
So they're
Four
federally,
MPOs
they're
got
federally funded
together.
even though they're a regional organization.
Say that again?
They're federally funded even though they're a regional organization.
Well, they're federally funded, period. And the reason that I say that, they would disagree with me. If they were here right now, they would say, oh no, we're not federally funded. The reason that I say that is this. They took $4.6 million from HUD under the Sustainable Communities Grant Program. We've already talked about sustainable communities and what that's all about. It's about redistribution of wealth, pure and simple. It is not just about Northeastern Ohio. They're doing this all across the nation. There's a goal, a federal objective to change, to transform our country. And we are allowing that to happen. Now, I'm hoping that you can't sleep tonight. That you lay and look at the ceiling thinking, my God, what can I do? Because if you do that, maybe we'll put another 100 people in this room next week. Okay? I won't be accountable if you can't sleep tonight. But they're also funded through the MPOs who have been contributed. They also contribute in-kind dollars, which means people and paper and that kind of stuff. But they're funded by the federal government, the Department of Transportation, through your tax dollars and through private organizations, nonprofit organizations, who take your tax dollars and give it to the NAOCC. Do you see a kind of a basic concept going on here, a little game going on? Your tax dollars are usually at the core, in some way, shape, or form. So what does that say about NAOCC and what they're trying to do? It says two things. The most obvious is they're lying to you. They tell you they're creating a regional plan which is going to make everything better for all of us. It's going to be a perfect world. The birds will sing. We're not going to have snow in the wintertime. We're going to have flowers all year long. Although I hear it's supposed to snow tomorrow. But that is all as fictitious as what they're telling you. Their objective, which if you see the HUD grant requirements, every time you take grant dollars, there are strings attached. The thing that I object to on elected officials is they never read those grants. I read as many of them as I can get my hands on. And so I've got the copy of the grant requirements for NAOCC. It tells NAOCC when you take these dollars, this is what you have to accomplish. They are working to accomplish that because they took that money. And they said going in that they wanted to accomplish those things. And so they're accomplishing exactly what HUD has asked them to do and what they said they were going to do. But they're not telling you that. They're telling you a different story. That's not untypical. This is one of there's a whole set of recommendations that are just being rolled out. There was a group of us at a meeting the other night in which NAOCC was laying out some of their thoughts. Not all of them, but some of them. This is a slide out of their recommendations. It says they want to focus on reinvestment in existing communities. How many of you live in a rural community? Okay. When they say existing communities, they're talking about downtown communities. They've kind of broken things down into, have you heard of Dave Frost's presentation? It's unbelievable to me how much of what Dave Frost tells us is now coming to fruition. You got the inner circle suburbs, you got the core city, the first circle, the second circle, the transect, then the urban area. Well, they want to limit development in environmentally sensitive areas. Where is an environmentally sensitive area?
Anywhere.
Geauga County. Oh, Geauga County is environmentally sensitive. And so they want to limit development. They want to take, by their recommendations, not me saying this, I'll show you a slide that shows you this, they want to take development in our rural areas to less than 1%. Because they're environmentally sensitive. They want to increase the proportion of mixed-use walkable development. There was a statement made to me in a meeting downtown Cleveland. I asked them in a NOACA meeting, who's pushing this nonsense. By the way, if you're ever in a NOACA meeting, they're the second Friday of every month, at 10 o'clock, downtown, this beautiful NOACA building. Come into the building, you're welcome, public. Sign in 5 minutes before the meeting and you can ask a question for 3 minutes. Yeah. And you can't ask any questions after you really know what they're talking about, but I can help you with that. Because I'm on the board, I know what the agenda is, so I can prompt you with questions. But come in there and ask them sometime, what gives them the authority to do NEOCC? There's supposed to be roads and bridges. And now they're reaching out to master planning for the entire region, for land use, for housing, for environmental, for all these things that they have no charter for whatsoever. Ask them what gives them the authority. I've asked them, they wouldn't respond. So they want to increase the proportion of mixed-use walkable environment. They want to expand public transportation networks. I have a second home in Philadelphia on the main line. Anybody here familiar with the main line in Philadelphia? It is a mass transit train line. Runs east and west, north and south, New York City down to Washington, D.C. And the funny thing about that is, if you go to one of the train stations any given day, it's a little bit like the transit system here. There ain't that many people in the train station. And you got this big, long, expensive mass transit system going on there. They want to prioritize new development near already developed communities. Does this sound like freedom of choice to you? No. The other night when we were in the meeting, one of the things that struck me was the consultant from Sasaki who was giving us the presentation kept saying, we think you should do this. We think this is what we ought to develop. We think. There was no, what would you like? Or, we think you should have free choice and liberty. No, we think. I started a little conversation. I was sitting at a table with a commissioner from Lorraine, a commissioner from Lake County, Ed Fitzgerald, second in command, and there was another person, and then myself. Dan Troy. Dan Troy won't sit at the table with me. And so we were having a conversation about 2040, because they're visioning for 2040. And the question was, what is your vision of 2040? Ed Fitzgerald's second in command spoke up and said, densely populated, interconnected communities surrounded by green space. And the Lorraine County Commissioner chimed in and said, yeah, that's good, I like that. And so I asked the question, well, what about the Constitution? What about free choice? What about, if I want to live in an urban area, not in a densely populated community? Well, that Constitution, that's an old archaic document designed by a bunch of old white guys. It doesn't apply today. Which got us into a heated conversation, as you might expect. Or, I don't want to say heated. It wasn't heated. It was a friendly conversation, but it was a vocal conversation. Mary Samiti, one of our county commissioners, came to me and said, Skip, you're becoming too vocal. You should be quiet. You're giving us a bad name. Whereupon, Ed Fitzgerald, second in command, said, Mary, go sit down at your table. We're having a good conversation here. He's got a plus in my column for saying that. Anyway, so you see the gist of where this is going. This is a planned community effort. They are tagging areas for reinvestment. This is for compact housing. This is for what is that? I don't know what reinforcement is. Oh, reinforcement of investment, I guess. There is a big plan going on that is based on a limited numbers of citizens' input and a lot of planning wisdom. This is another picture of NEOCC. Funded through these organizations, supported by these organizations, and it impacts this whole area. You. Very few people know about it. Very few people are plugged into it, know what's going on. But it will impact every single person. Now I'm told by many elected officials, well, this is just optional recommendations. There's nothing they can really do to push this or to enforce this. No. How many of you believe that? I'm glad to see those hands with them. Because, think about this. Federal organizations, what do they do best?
Waste.
Take away our freedom.
Outside of waste,
Regulate.
there's a second choice.
Control.
Control through what mechanism?
Regulations.
Regulations, I love it. Have you read recently where the EPA has said that they have a right to set regulation on any property that has water on it?
Yes.
I've got a stream running through my property. The EPA feels that they have the right to come in and regulate my property. The Department